Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live stream. I hope everybody is doing fantastic all over the world. If it's evening or morning or whatever it may be, I'm looking so forward to having an awesome time with you. And if our tech is working correctly, it'll be even better. So, I am Dr. Madison Harper, and I have been working in human potential and transformation for about 10 years now. And I really just wanted to share some of the insights that I get. And I have had thousands of clients across the world. But the main thing is I wanted to start doing things that were more available to people who could not maybe get me personally or didn't have the funds. So this is my gift to you. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself for those who don't know who I am. I actually have been doing this kind of work for probably about 10 years now, so it's not my first rodeo, everybody. And the things I have consistently seen as being a challenge have been things around where people are feeling a lack of fulfillment and joy and passion. And I don't know about you, but right now it's even more challenging. So I think this is a very timely opportunity for us to connect and see how we can ramp up our lives. My intention for this live stream and all my work is basically to reignite that passion and purpose and fulfillment, and then throw a bunch of fuel on it and burn the flames and set it on fire to reignite our lives so that we can go beyond mediocrity. So in this session today, I do have some questions in advance that I will be taking. I may be seeing your comments. I'm not 100% sure. Let's go and see what's going on. Yep, it seems to be working, kind of, sort of. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm actually responding to your comments and trying to engage as much as possible. This live stream is our very first live stream, so super excited about that. And it's my 2020 out of the box. And I'm not going to say out of my comfort zone because I don't have any issue doing public speaking or anything like that. But let me tell you what was out of the box, or, out of my comfort zone, was this tech. And I'm not even using what I thought I was going to be using because I couldn't get my DSLR camera to work. It actually made me look like a Smurf. Everything was blue, like my skin was blue. Ain't pretty, people. So it's that, to be able to play a bigger game. So do you guys want to start playing a bigger game? I'm really, really curious. Now, you can find out more about me if you want to know like all the boring stuff, things like my background. I'll tell you briefly. I started off in marketing, so I really love that whole strategic side. Also worked in publishing, worked for a whole bunch of different clients. So I realized, and you guys might experience this as well, that some of the path that we've taken has not always been so joyful, but it has led us to exactly where we need to be. So for example, I worked in advertising, I worked with a speakers bureau, I worked in publishing, I worked with a whole bunch of systems, and I realize now that even though I didn't love some of those roles, like when I worked in the speakers bureau, I would go to work at 21 years old crying and praying that I'd be hit by a bus on the way there. Like, that's no way to live. Excuse my microphone. I just want you guys to have awesome audio. There we go. And I realize now that every single one of those jobs were that opportunity to come into the person that I am today, as a speaker, as a writer, as having to learn all this tech. And I do love tech. But if any of you have ever tried to organize a video conference, you know the pain. So we're going to start off with, I'll finish that story, by the way. So I started off in marketing, and I was asked to do some project management for a customer relationship management system because I was able to bridge that gap between what the business and the tech people needed. And then basically I was realizing that you can do all the projects in the world, but unless you had a strong cultural component where people were excited and amplified to actually do the work, it was kind of a bit of dragging people across the line, which was a little bit painful. So I started looking in change management and transformation, which I then melded with my own personal desire for personal development, and I turned it into a career. Lucky me. And I hope that you guys can do that too. And I actually think one of my last questions, which will be, the thing everyone's talking about, it's a great opportunity for us to really step into, if you've got some extra time, to things that you may have wanted to do. So we'll talk about that a bit later. Okay, let's start with your questions. Hey there, good to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Very excited. So I have made sure that when people have sent me their questions, that I am not saying people's names because I am very, very mindful of people's privacy. You are like my other clients. I am very much about your confidentiality. So I am just going to talk about questions. If any questions come up on the chat, please let me know. And well, I can see, right? I'm in control of this. Don't worry. Okay, I am the pilot of this pilot live stream. Okay, so the first question that I got was, I work in a manufacturing company and everyone is so politically correct and scared to say what needs to be said. I'm finding it frustrating as nothing gets done and decisions aren't made, or we settle for the mediocre. Well, thank you to that person who did send through that question. Let me tell you, I don't care if you work in manufacturing, banking, insurance, technology, the food industry, whatever it is, you will find that people are so afraid to say what they really think for a number of reasons. One, we are taught to be super politically correct, and by no means am I giving you this leash to go rogue, by the way. The other aspect is that they are afraid of losing their jobs. But what I'd like to invite you to do is you have to make sure you feel good within yourself, because you are actually losing aspects of your life when you aren't being authentic. Now, with all these questions, I'm going to start with you, because nothing changes until you do. So this person, the first question I would ask you is, how does it make you feel? Now, you've already told me you're frustrated and nothing gets done and decisions aren't made. So if you can relate to this, and again, this might be a work situation, but let me tell you, this can be across anything. If you have family decisions that never get done, or friends that can never make a commitment, it's all the same thing, this endless chatter. Nobody wants to say what's really happening because they don't want to rock the boat. But here's what's happening. You're actually rocking the boat within yourself. So how does it make you feel? Just have a little think about it when you don't say what you want to say. And I'm not talking, let's go all nuts crazy. So just have a little think about it. How do you feel when you don't get to say what you want to say? You feel like you're holding back. Okay, so here is my guess. If you are not expressing your need to be heard, and you tend to do that consistently, guess what happens? You erupt like a volcano, and then it goes from nothing to zero like that. So I think it's a real opportunity for this person to speak up. And I know that people are worried about rocking the boat, but I feel like we need more courageous but graceful conversations in our lives and in our organizations, because, time is money. Things are getting more and more competitive. We're in really uncertain times. We have to really commit to creating the optimum, and I'm going to say human experience, because employee experience is so 1970s, and customer experience, plus above all, our own life experience. So If you're worried about losing your job because you're speaking up graciously, I ask you to think of this. How do you feel about losing your respect, your self-respect? So I always think that there is a way that we can say what needs to be said, and you need to find your vibe with it. And I know sometimes when people are in situations and it's like bubbling up within them, they're like, I want to say something. Why isn't anyone saying something? This is such a bad idea. Or I have such a good idea. Confidence is key. And for those of you who know my framework, it's confidence, clarity, then confidence, then courage. So you need to be super clear on who you are, what's your vibe, and how you want to contribute to yourself, your family, your community, and the world around you. The next thing is that gives you an amazing amount of confidence. So as some of you know, I do a lot of corporate consulting, and you guys are so lucky because I put on my makeup and I put perfume on for you guys. So the people who were on my conference call this morning saw me going barefaced. So anyway, it's, you have to know about what you are going to stand for. I am in a lot of situations in these organizations where I am the consultant and I have to choose my battles. If anybody's got a child, hand up, you know what I'm talking about. Yep, I can see a few of you definitely know what I'm talking about. So you have to choose your battles. If you feel strongly about something, then just develop the confidence to say something. And here's what's really interesting. A lot of the time people feel like they're getting out of their comfort zone when they do that. But here's what happens. When we start leaning into our comfort zone, we find that that comfort zone becomes just our day-to-day, and you feel good about it. Now, if you're seen as someone who's just a disruptor, so be it. Maybe it isn't the right organizational fit for you. I am actually, one of my clients, I love the way they said it. They said, I'm a gracious disruptor. I'm not there to make you feel comfortable. I'm there to meet you where you're at, but I'm there to like reignite something in you, make you, help you wake up, facilitate your desires and all that sort of stuff. So be a gracious disruptor. And anything else I can probably say about that? No, but just be very aware that you don't want any regrets in your life. So speak up at work and in families, in your life, and just be gracious about it. Because for those of you who listen to my Reality Alchemist podcast, you would have heard me talking about Bronnie Ware, an Australian nurse who worked at a hospice, and she wrote a best-selling book worldwide of the 5 regrets of the dying. And the number one regret was people regretting that they were not their authentic selves. So I will move on to our next question. Okay. The next one was a LinkedIn question, and this individual asked me about leadership, innovation, and culture and how they all meld together. I am going to give you some my insight on each of those. Now, first of all, to me, innovation is not for the select few. I actually think that we innovate in all parts of our lives. And I like to use creativity and innovation together because I do believe they fuel each other. They're actually a fusion. One of my favorite words, fusion. And it's an opportunity for us to flex our creativity muscles. Now, here's something that I have personally found a little overwhelming. I decided to do 2 things in the last 6 months that were probably something I hadn't focused on for many, many years. And one thing I did is I taught myself how to paint, and shout out to all those content creators and YouTube video people because, my gosh, you are my teachers and I am so grateful to you. And I decided to teach myself to paint. Now, here's what was interesting, and I'll ask you this as well. And some friends then also got inspired. It felt really weird to put like a paintbrush to the canvas because I'm like, what happens if I make a mistake? What happens if it's really ugly? And it was abstract. I mean, how bad can I make it? Some of them were bad, but anyway, we'll let that go. So it's all a learning process. Now, if you're like me and maybe you don't have children, when's the last time you were truly creative? When is the last time that you had the opportunity to flex that creativity inside you? So that was one thing I did, and it was really fascinating to watch. You know, I'm pretty courageous mentally and all that, but it was interesting to see that I felt really out of my comfort zone in creating. The other thing I did, and this was out of in my own means, is necessity. Every time I do a public talk or every time I do photo shoots, video, I have to get a makeup artist. One, after a while, it gets expensive, but two, people, oh, actually, maybe it's not a good idea to be a makeup artist now. Anyway, scratch that. Start studying now if you want to be a makeup artist. They are so challenging to get. And you know what? I don't have to be picture perfect, but I want to make sure that everything I produce is at a level where I feel proud of it. And there are some things I see and I'm like, Lordy, girl, you need to just wear a mask because your makeup looks like crap. So I went and did a professional makeup course. Again, creativity. Now, what are you doing that's creative? Because I find that a majority of people, if they're not flexing their creativity muscle in an ongoing fashion, you tend to just keep doing the same thing over and over and over. So what can you do that will make you more creative? Oh, yeah, I've seen a few comments here. I love that. Okay, so one person is, oh my gosh, that's so cute. You're a person after my own heart. They're going to learn how to do dog grooming. It's worth it. Somebody else said they're going to start writing. Yes, right. Get your stuff out there. That is one of the reasons I'm doing this, because, you know, there is no benefit to the world if we have gifts within us that we are not letting go free. So yeah, writing by all means. And you know what? It's a long gone, this thing of having to have a publisher. You can publish online, you can blog, you can vlog, you can do all these things. So that's another great one. What else are you going to do? What's that person doing? Oh, cool. They're going to do an interior design course. Wonderful. So all really wonderful creative things. And actually that last person said that doing, oh my gosh, can I tell you how afraid I am to cough? I am naturally a sniffer and a cougher. And I saw something on Facebook the other day that somebody posted, and they said I was in my local supermarket and I coughed and 4 people turned around and looked at me. I felt like I was on The Voice. I thought that was quite funny. Anyway, I'm all fine. I just, it's a lot of talking. Now, you can probably hear my dog Minka in the background, but we'll let her be. So yeah, so the person who just said they were going to do some interior design, they're actually a hairdresser now. So great, still very creative as well. So I also believe organizations have to set aside the time to think. We do not allow ourselves any time to think because we are racing all the time. Okay. I would love to know how to put myself on mute here to scream at my puppy, but I'm sure it's somewhere really. I can't find it. You'll just have to listen to her bark. I'm sorry, guys. So you have to create that space to think. And I know a lot of my clients said they love coming back from Christmas holidays because that means that they're often in the office by themselves and they actually can think. Most people are running back to back in their lives or in their work. And here's what I know for sure. Most people are too busy doing their to-do lists that they're never going to get to their lives lists or life lists. So we have to make it a priority. If you want to create innovation in an organization, you have to create the time. And you have to have leaders who are willing to invest in that experiment. I'll give you an example of one of my corporate clients. Karen, shout out to you. She was a client who was so open and willing to personal development, experimenting, changing things, making a positive difference. Sure, she still had BAU running, business as usual running, but she was also open to experimenting. And what we did was put together a high performance team, and they were nominated. And can I tell you, they had to pitch to me. And a majority of them, when they pitched to me, didn't believe that they were worthy of being in this group. They didn't have the confidence. So, I could kind of sniff out that they had awesome potential. It was already there. It just had to be, unpacked. And we did some exciting things. But one of the biggest things that we did was give them the opportunity to speak to the senior leaders, to do passion projects. And they did it in the pockets of their time. It was not part of their normal job. We did not pull anyone off projects. And they were allowed to innovate. And as my client said, they were like the petri dish of the entire organization. And we had challenges with beliefs and thoughts and culture even then. But, because it was only, I think, about 12 people, I had to make sure that as the project sponsor, I really managed that, because we could not recreate the same behaviors that were happening in the wider company. Otherwise, we would never excel. It's very much, as I said to somebody this morning, and in the words of Joe Dispenza, we have to break the habit of being ourselves if we want something to change. So create the space, innovation. 2, get creativity in your life to flex the muscles. 3, leadership. One of my favorite topics. Now, I'm going to tell you, I actually don't believe in leadership hierarchy. I don't believe in leadership levels. I believe that we are all personally accountable, and we all have our own personal leadership style. This is so important. Now, when I'm saying traditional leadership, you have to have people who are like my client, who basically was willing to give them the opportunity to experiment. Now, this doesn't mean that we have to have the whole company crashing down. It's not going to happen. But what it does mean is that you have to take a pocket of people, set up conditions that are amplified from your current conditions, otherwise same old, and give them a go. But you've got to give people a good go. So the leaders have to be willing to support these people. And the other thing with leaders is they have to have, in my opinion, my very strong opinion, the ability to coach and also guide and develop. As well as, I believe today's leaders have to be a role model, because I can tell what a team looks like or what the team's vibe is by talking to their leader. And it's happened time and time again. People are telling me the leader's got a certain way about them, and then I start talking to the team. I hear the same language. I hear the same kind of how engaged or disengaged they are. So leaders, if you're out there and you're getting paid to be leaders, I really strongly encourage you to ask yourself this question: what kind of role model am I? And then on the other side of that, just going back to what kind of role model, you're either intentional or unintentional. You're a role model no matter what. Going back to the other side, where I believe everyone has personal leadership and accountability. Do not constantly look up to your leaders and ask them what's happening. Okay? You can ask to be communicated with, you can collaborate with, but do not rely on your leaders to be your mom or your dad. I truly believe that in this time, and even before these kind of overwhelming times have happened now, personal leadership is key. And one of my most popular programs was called CEO of Me, because I know in Australia about, I think it was 55% of the workforce here is contracting or consulting. So you have to be the CEO of your own business. And a lot of the initiatives that I'm working now with current clients, I'm actually being very well focused on creating entrepreneurial experiences, which is that entrepreneurial vibe within a large organization. And those that are project-based, I'm inviting them that you're each mini startups. How would you act? What would you do? And the best thing is they might be a mini startup in a company, but at least they're getting paid, which a lot of us didn't in the beginning. So to recap, leadership, the leaders who are in the hierarchy, please be role models. Look at your leadership vibe. And look at what you're doing intentionally or unintentionally. Would you want people to mimic your behavior? Team members, start developing your leadership skills. You need them as we're going into this new world reality of everybody basically working for themselves. And also when you do that, you become more valued for your value, which is also another aspect of it. Innovation, flex those creativity muscles, allow time to think within organizations, families, whatever it is. Don't jump on things just because you're a box ticker. I know there's some of you out there. I'm personally not a box ticker. Somebody online I know is a box ticker. You know who you are. They love ticking the box and getting things done. I am a bit more fluid in my way, but it's all about knowing your vibe. Now, I'm probably, like, one of my top strengths when I look at my behavioral profiling is strategy. So I am more about the strategy and the big picture, but you don't want me organizing things that are not aligned to my strengths. And that's the other part of it. In these innovative, creative, leadership-focused environments, yes, we want to be cross-functional in what we can achieve, but also leverage people's strengths. Then they get more excited about their work and they do things that are more meaningful and that matter to them. And if I could put, sparkles around that, that is so important, because let me tell you, we've got 5 generations currently working in organizations. What motivates them is very different. And whenever I ask leaders what motivates your team, they have no idea. But I'll give you some insights. And this innovation side is part of it. The top 3 things I tend to see around organizations, what matters and is meaningful to them, is having the opportunity to do innovative projects. But more importantly than that is to actually finish what they're doing. The goalposts keep changing so often that they are in huge change fatigue. And the researchers said that over 50% of leaders, their number one priority in the next 5 years is managing change fatigue, because people are exhausted. So keep that in mind. And then once you have that leadership, personal accountability, the creativity, you have a great culture in order to really amplify innovation in your organization. And I have to say, I think innovation is now at the stage where it's not a nice to have, it's a have to have. I hope I answered that question. Is there anyone else talking to me? Know about that? Cool. Yes. Create that flexibility. And I know some of the people who are listening, they've also done some very creative things. One of the people online has got a beautiful grounding course that I will share with you. And we need to ground people. When I say ground, we need to come back to ourselves and not be all out there and in fear. But that's another topic. Actually, I might get her and interview her later. Okay. Next question. A colleague is being bullied and she's afraid to say something. The guy is well known for this behavior, and she is basically worried about losing her job. How can I support this person? First of all, kudos to you, kudos to you, kudos to you. Because if this is one of my things, I cannot stand bad behavior. And if I witness it and don't say anything, I feel like I am perpetuating it and I'm just as bad as the person doing it. So for those people out there who witness poor behavior and they don't say anything, I want you to answer this or think of this question. If you saw this person doing it to your child, what would you do? Okay, you might get all mama bear and papa bear, and we don't really need to do that in the organization, but you wouldn't allow it to happen, would you? So think of your colleagues like that. They are all people, and you want to be, I don't know. I just want to be a quality person. I just want to, say things, because people, especially if they're being bullied or victimized, my goodness, they don't, and it's like any abuse. You feel like you don't have a voice anymore. You are so scared to do anything. So for this person, in supporting them, one of the first things you can do is go and ask them how they're feeling and just check in. The famous "Are you okay?" is a perfect way to check in with somebody. A lot of people, I can see some people here are saying that they're fearful. They don't know how to give advice. It's not about giving advice. It's about listening and really letting people get what's in them outside of them. Because I don't know about you guys, but if you keep things just inside you, you know, that constant thinking and thinking and thinking, and it just drives us nuts. So sometimes people just need people to talk to. The other thing I would recommend to this person is, if they want to support them, is to, get them into thinking a certain way. Ask them why they're worried about losing their job. I get it. But I would ask them, and I know for a fact that this person does have a child, how would they feel, like I said before, if their child was exposed to this? The other fact that I'm kind of disappointed to, well, not kind of, I am disappointed to hear, is that they said this person is known for their behavior, this bully. Stop it, and stop it. Organizations, you have to make the hard calls. You have to. And families and friends and whatever, I don't care, wherever you are, you have to make the hard calls. How many times have I heard in organizations when I said to somebody, you need to get rid of them, they are toxic, they are ruining people, they are bullying, and people have said, oh no, but it takes so much time, we've got to go through a process, it takes 3 months, we've got to go through human resources. I don't care. Get them out. Before you do that though, I do like to give them an opportunity. Sometimes, a lot of the times, the bullies, think about where their behavior is coming from. They're scared, they're trying to control, and they're just worried. So they're trying to make everything go the way they want to, because they think if they have some way of, controlling and navigating the world, which we don't, as we've now seen, that they can, get everybody on board. Or my favorite thing is, I want us to be on the same page. Well, you know what? I might not be on the same page. I might be in a different book and a totally different library. So it doesn't mean we all have to fully agree, but we do have to fully be gracious to one another. So when this person said that this person's unknown for their behavior, I'm sorry, I'd be making their manager and the HR department accountable. And you know what? I know it's tough. But again, I'm going to ask you the same question. How would you feel if you don't? Will you still respect yourself in the morning? Okay. So the other way you can support them is to give them opportunities to talk it out. Give them, say to them, I'm happy to be with you and come with you to have the discussion. I am happy to do any research you might need on our internet about bullying. I am happy to search for some resources on how to manage it. I don't believe in giving resources on how to withstand the bully. No. But, here are the options. What this person is either going to do, they're probably going to leave. And that means a lot, like good people walk out the door, and you're going to have the deadwood bully still there. So you guys need to decide. I really think that we need to start making harder, tougher decisions. I know that it is coming from a place of fear and bullying, but, they need either coaching or counseling. And then, you know what? If they don't want to change their behavior, it's like any relationship. Out you go. So that's how you can support them. Talk to them. Are you okay? Offer resources that you can research. Be willing to be by their side. Ask them the question about, if it happened to their child or a friend or a family member, how would they feel? And I know when I've done that in the past, my gosh, it has ignited such courage within people, because they're like, yeah, you're right. And I've got to say, I'll give you a little insight. It's pretty high. 98% of those people are actually helped and facilitated to become a more conscious contributor and human being and kinder, or they're out. Why are we actually validating and rewarding bad behavior? Simple. But sometimes, you got to give them a go, because nobody says anything. So when they get feedback, they're like, what? I didn't know that. Give the people a chance as well. Hope that answered that question. Okay. Let me see. So, we are on to the question about, the virus. I don't even want to say its name. I don't want to give it any more, energy than need be, but I cannot ignore it. So as much as I'd like to and put my head in the sand, things are happening in the world that I cannot put my head in the sand. But I'm going to show you something that a few things going on here. Okay, with this virus, firstly, pay attention to your government, although some governments are telling you two different things, and take care of yourselves. The social distancing is no joke. So please do it. Just so you know, if you need any lessons on it, I am like a master. I've got a PhD in social distancing for people who don't know. They think I'm a big party girl, but no. I'm very good at staying at home. So be mindful of that, because you might think, oh, well, I don't care if it affects me, but if you're a carrier, it affects others. So, think about it. Just be gracious. The other aspect is that support as many people as you can. I actually think this epidemic is calling on us to love harder and deeper, be kinder, and just wake up. And I think it's also causing us to be more conscious. And here's my example. This is how in the past, this epidemic, I used toilet paper. I could just go through it. Now I'm like, ooh, better be careful. And I've got to say, I was not a hoarder. So I thought I was going to have to come on today and literally ask for toilet paper. But wait. Look, I feel like I have won the lotto. And I'm not joking. I feel like I've won the lotto. Like, this will last me forever. Double length. I mean, goodness me. And you know what? There was only 6 packets left. And when I went down the aisle, we're so used to not looking to see if it's there that we don't. It's like we're blind to it. And this guy saw me picking it up. And I said, I feel like I've won the lotto. And we had this whole conversation with people because we're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. But I think it's really inviting us to look at how we use our resources. Another example is that, the other day I dropped a whole thing of soy sauce. Normally I would just get those paper towels out, and this time I used, tea towels. So I believe it is an invitation to think of who you want to be in the world and how you want to contribute. Sure, do everything that's practical. Do all that, right? But it's like, let me ask you, are you healthy enough to believe that you've got a strong immunity system? If you're not, do something about it. Are you being wasteful? And now you're thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do if I run out of X, Y, and Z? It's an invitation to look at how conscious you are with, I'm going to say, Earth's creations and, do something different. The people I am highly concerned about are the people who are losing their jobs because, we can't touch, talk, and all that sort of stuff. Now, for those people, please reach out to them, offer your support. Our jobs are often our identity. And when you lose that, it's soul destroying. So really, just like I said with the bullying example, check in with them. Are you okay? Talk to them about what they can do that could be really positive for them. Because as we know, there's no use dwelling in the situation. And I am annoyingly positive. I've been told that I'm annoyingly positive. And even I feel it because, you can be as positive you like and the people around you can be really positive. But after a while, it's just like an erosion. So, we have to be watching our thoughts. We've got to be looking at our conversations. And a friend and I were talking the other day, and I loved how she turned the conversation where she said, in China, they've seen the sun for the first time in decades because of no pollution. People in the apartment buildings are going, I'm going to the shops. Does anybody need anything? I personally shop not only for my mother, but for other people who may need assistance. And God knows I hate shopping, but I am more than happy to do that. So that is a way to be of service to them. But the other thing, and this is to you or to somebody, in your life, if you've got the time, and I really do think that it's the universe's way, and I know some people hate hearing that because, it's tough, and I hear you, but let's look at something that we can do positively. What have you always wanted to study? What have you always wanted to learn? What have you always wanted to create? What have you always said, I would love to do, but I don't have time? Do it. Because if there's one thing I know for sure when I am going through challenging situations, and it's usually around heartbreak because, I'm a lover, the best way for me to get over it is to indulge, and I say indulge, in activities that really fill my soul. Basically, the ultimate self-care, which does not mean selfish, it means self-care. Because I truly believe if we don't take care of ourselves first, then we can't be a gift to anybody else. So, encourage them, or if it's you, think about what you would love to do that you haven't had the time for. I've had other people say to me they're spending more time with their family. They love working from home. They're getting more done. They feel more productive. Sure, the interaction side of it is very important, but can I tell you, I feel like I'm talking to you guys now, and you guys rock too. Thank you for the comments. It doesn't bother me. It's like I just have got to the stage where, we are in this society where we can communicate in a number of ways. And you know what? I probably had more time to talk to friends recently because we've had time. So that's another positive thing. Interesting though, as I was starting to put together all this live stream stuff, is that all the video cams have gone apparently. And unfortunately, people are, something that's $50 is selling for $300. Not cool, people. But yeah. There's always a way. There's always a way. Even though I probably can't teach my mom FaceTime, that is a way to keep in contact, even if it's a phone. Now, I want to talk about another type of contagion with you guys. And it's one that we've had around for decades. Forget this recent thing. It's emotional contagion. So emotional contagion is basically the energy flows to the most powerful energy around or in a room. So for example, if you go into a room and you've noticed, not that it's happening at the time, but you're witnessing that the energy is a bit odd because people have been arguing, that's emotional contagion hanging in the air. So you're more than aware of what it feels like. So our emotional contagion, we have to decide, we have a choice how we're going to be contagious with how we act, respond, and speak. Now, I'm going to tell you something that, I'm not overly proud of. When I got this toilet paper today, I had it on the top of my trolley, and it was on the far part of my trolley. I'm like wheeling it along. I'm like, am I going to get toilet paper looted? Like I'm like, what are you thinking? Stop it. Even I was thinking that toilet paper looted. If somebody needs it more than me, by all means, so I am very mindful of my emotional contagion. Even if people are talking to me about it, I will listen and I will, ask them for what they think is positive out of it. And a few people are here saying what has been positive. They spent more time with their family. They are creating space to interact with people in different ways. They're learning new things. I love that. Oh, this person's learning how to do floristry. Beautiful. We need more beauty in the world. So be mindful of your emotional contagion. And remember, it goes to the strongest energy in the room. So if you've ever been in a family or a friend situation or in a meeting where somebody is like ranting and raving, it's like all the power goes to that person, right? And it's exactly what we don't want, because we don't want to give energy to that negativity. So I want you to, I invite you to amplify your contagion and decide what it's going to be like. Is it going to be positive? Like I can be positive without being my head stuck in the sand. Trust me, my mother, I don't listen to the news. A friend said to me today, how do you not know? And I'm like, I've got enough friends and family to tell me what's going on in the news. Okay. I know what's going on. So I'm going to be positive, but I'm still going to be very gracious and mindful that people do need support. Okay, emotional contagion. That was emotional contagion 101. Okay, so just to... Oh, and the other thing I was going to tell you, I've got a mindfulness, but if you've listened to my podcast, it's a heartfulness, because the mind is not as strong as the heart, audio on how to bring your energy back so you feel solid again, because our energy is quite fragmented lately. I've noticed in my city where I live, the energy is very... fear-based and greedy. It's always been like that. We were only nice during the Olympics, I've got to say, people, for the most part. But and now it's just amplified. So just think that, you know, we need people like ourselves to be positive and, you know, help people along the way without letting them sit in the muck. Okay, and I do have an audio. I will share that with you on my various media things. Okay, those are the questions. Thank you so much for our first live stream. I truly enjoyed reading your comments. I appreciate you showing up and me sharing this with you. I appreciate the people who have sent in their questions. You can ask me anything: life, love, and the universe, organizations, families, relationships. It's all the same. It's all relationships. It's all connections. So that is super exciting. Now, I will just give you a quick reminder. Let me just see here. Chill. There we go. Okay. I'm trying. Oh, hello. There's a big black screen. Hello. Hello. So just a reminder to download my podcasts. Oh, there we go. And subscribe and like if you're on YouTube, because you will get notified of all this. And I am going to end today's podcast with Today I Appreciate. And I invite you to think of this with me. So today I appreciate, like, I actually appreciated that I didn't appreciate the simple things in life anymore. I cannot tell you when I got that toilet paper, I was like I won lotto. It's ridiculous, which made me realize that I need to amp up my appreciation. The other thing I'm appreciative for is I am happy and healthy. My family is happy and healthy. The other thing I'm appreciative for is that I get to connect with you guys and feel your vibes, get your feedback, and be of service. What else?